What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at one of my favorite battles in Baldur's Gate 3. This is the first floor of Moonrise Towers. I want to give you a bit of a strategy, some tips that may help you with this fight. On my first playthrough, I found this fight extremely difficult, but a few things are going to help you. First of all, I'm going to recommend you split up your party. So you've got your Tav and Jaheira on one side. You've got Karlach coming in from the other side, and they are not going to engage in the fight right away. Now, we've got Gale and Shadowheart. They're going to come in from the front.
Picking provisions from the dead. Well, the way I hear it.
You're going to want to make sure you've got plenty of healing items. You're likely going to take a ton of damage this fight. Make sure every party member's got some scrolls so that they can use some magic in a pinch. So we'll move Gale up, but he's not yet going to engage. Likewise with Shadowheart, we'll try to get her in the best position we can and initiate the fight. One thing you want to be aware of, if you do begin with a sneak attack, in my experience, the Harpers may not engage.
Boys, make them bleed.
Okay, so depending on what type of initiative roll you get, it's really going to kind of determine the onset of this battle. But I want you to notice something. When one character engages, everyone sort of congregates in this front area. Ideally, we're hoping that everyone gets in, a really close vicinity. It's going to open them up to using some AoE attacks, some elemental attacks.
I'll strip your bones.
And this is something you gotta watch out for. Zarel, quite powerful. Definitely one of your top priorities. You want to take her out as quickly as possible. So, we haven't yet engaged with Jaheira or Tav. So first I want you to open up with this Ice Storm. It's going to do two things. It's going to deal some damage to multiple characters at once, and it's also going to hinder the ability of these enemies to move around as you're getting things set up. So once we sort of determine the maximum number of enemies for an attack, we're going to let it go. Back to Karlach. Now there's a few things you can do. You can engage with one of these enemies, or you can jump up on the stairs. Either way, depending on the initiative roll, it's going to determine exactly what actions you can take. In this case, I wanted to engage this. I think this is maybe Faerûn, I believe. You want to engage these characters as a second party. They get some pretty powerful magic. This one spell, the Hunger of Hador, I believe, it's really going to hinder the ability of your party. And this is something that's really powerful. Gale's Hypnotic Pattern 4. It's just going to buy you more time. Hopefully we'll get a hypnosis on a number of these enemies and give us a chance to further get positioned. As you can see, very effective. We've rendered several of these enemies hypnotized. Now the Harpers, they're going to help a little bit, but they're not really going to be the deciding factor in this battle. They're more of, a support function. Okay, we're using the Spirit Guardians. I think the rule of this fight is maximizing the amount of damage you can do per turn, and particularly when you can inflict damage to multiple enemies.
The dice roll in my favor.
Hypnosis has taken effect. Those archers in the rafters really are more of a nuisance, but they can slowly chip away at your health, so you want to keep an eye on them as well. I tend to leave them towards the end just because they're not doing the maximum amount of damage. I really want to take out these. You want to take out Zarel, the magic users, the adept magic users, and these paladin type characters in the back. The fight is going to proceed in sort of two phases. There's this front entryway, and then there's the hall behind. And eventually several characters from the hall behind are going to engage as well. Going with the branding smite. This is Dorkel. One thing that's really frustrating with this character is you get them right down and they're still going to have one remaining health point, so make sure you really see through defeating them early. And Tav has not yet engaged. See, these particular enemies are very weak to these physical attacks, so we had a miss there. Let's try again. And if you're lucky, you can take out potentially 2 or 3 of them in this opening turn. Again, not particularly strong enemies, but if you can take out 1 or 2 per turn, it's really going to help in this fight. Sometimes if you're positioned properly, you can push some of these enemies onto the ice. We don't quite have the right angles for that this time.
Always the same old song.
And I think in this case we'll also go for another sort of environmental. I think this time we go with the thorns. You really just want to clog up this main entryway as much as possible, limit the movement of these stronger enemies. See, we didn't have much luck there. The main thing that I'd like you to take away is, in terms of elemental damage, we want to start with ice, and then you can move to fire. The fire's going to do a couple things. It's going to inflict some damage, hopefully, and it's also going to melt the ice, and it'll leave these congregated enemies in standing water. At that time, they're vulnerable to any lightning attacks. So you can deal quite a bit of damage very quickly by taking advantage of these elemental attacks and really controlling the terrain. Again, these characters, definitely want to take them out as quickly as possible. You see the ice is working on our behalf there. Some really detrimental status effect type attacks that you want to be aware of. Another thing, if you do plan on continuing Jahira's storyline, you have to make sure that she survives this fight. So you want to keep an eye on everyone's health. I think in this case we go with the inflict wounds. You can see it's very effective in this case. We'll try a shove. With any luck, sometimes you can get them to get pushed further into that ice field. We can see Gale's not going to be very effective because of these status effects. I believe he's blinded and slowed, so another reason you don't want your entire party congregated in the front or in close quarters to each other. These status effects are really going to do a lot of damage. These status effects are really going to hinder your ability to attack effectively. See, the hypnosis still going strong. And I think Gale's going to be pretty limited in what he can do in this case. I believe we ultimately bring in an elemental. That's another helpful tactic. It just gives you a few more turns. It also allows you to sort of control the terrain a bit more, spread some more of that ice. Fire is also very effective. We want to begin to chip away at these enemies on this side before we move toward the enemies in the middle. One helpful thing, if you find Jaira's health running out, you can change into wild shape, and it's going to give you a little health boost and a slightly different moveset. Okay, and down goes Zarel. We've got Faerûn there. We want to certainly try to take him out as quickly as possible. For me, I found this fight quite challenging early on. We can see that the ice has melted, so in this case we didn't get to use the fire, but nevertheless the enemies are standing in a pool of water. For me, this fight was quite challenging initially until I realized we need a strategy to maximize the amount of damage that we can do each turn, and a great way to do that is some of this environmental, elemental, magic type attacks with a strong strength contingent. So if, depending upon the class of your tab or your character, Karlach, Lae'zel, someone that's going to be able to do a lot of physical damage, but also splitting up your party so that you're not congregated in one area, and those magic attacks like the Hunger of Hadar can inflict the whole party. Thinking about coating the weapon in some form of poison, just to maximize the damage we can do with those physical attacks. if you're not careful, that can really put your party at a disadvantage. You can sort of make or break the battle if you're affected by this for too long. See if we can move those elementals. It's going to be quite difficult. And we can also just begin coating some of this with ice again, because we've got so much water down. It's really going to maximize the amount of ground that we can freeze. We've got Dorkle down. And there's Faerûn down. Now we start really closing in on those axe-wielding enemies. Very high physical resistance. Thankfully, the enemies in the chamber behind have not yet engaged, but they will very quickly. Okay, that's one of the great advantages of those Spirit Guardians. You can really do a lot of damage to a lot of characters quickly. And then you still have the ability to attack again. Succumb to that opportunity attack there. I think with any luck. Yeah, that's going to do it. Very effective attack.
Swords meet sorcery.
And this is a great tip. I remember when I discovered it. It may be common knowledge, but sometimes throwing a potion at an ally, if their health is getting low, it can help in a pinch if you don't have a character that can cast a heal or something like that. I think Gale's gonna be pretty limited here.
Red in tooth and claw. By your command.
I think we'll try to get everything frozen again. Like I said, enemies from the hall behind are going to quickly engage, so if we can limit their forward momentum, that's going to be helpful. And we've gotten one of these to fall.
Alright, Karlak, it's go time.
And we can either use some ranged attacks, or we can begin to engage physically, but we want to watch out for the ice. Trusty Throne Potion. And these zealots, very high defense. It's going to take a lot to get them down. Now, at this point in the fight, so we're finishing up with the enemies out here. I'm going to suggest having your party fan out again to flank the enemies that will be rushing forward. They'll be limited due to the ice, and then we can sort of engage them from the rear of that hull behind us. These characters can do a lot of damage quickly. In this case, they're quite weak to fire, so like I said, it's going to do two things. It's going to inflict damage, and it's going to... oh, we got both of them with one. Nice. So now we've got water. We can either we can use a lightning attack. You want to be careful none of your party members are standing in the water, but you can do a lot of damage over a great distance because of the water that's down. Okay, so I'm going to suggest your Tav
Can't slow down.
go back to the hall behind to begin flanking. Keep an eye on all. If you're lucky, yeah, this is another thing. The Quartermaster Tally, she may also engage. I've had her engage some fights. I've also had her not engage. It sort of just depends on her position. We've got some more of these adept characters. More of the Hunger of Hadar. Do the chromatic orb just to keep ice in that entryway, hinder some of the movement. Because of the water, we get quite a large area of freezing. Yeah, essentially for this area, you know, we're going freezing, fire, lightning, some variation of that, but gonna get a dash.
I'm not going to last much longer.
Shadowheart struggle in there. Expanding that ice field a bit more.
Let's end this.
A superior healing or a greater healing.
Take you.
At this point in the fight, the momentum is on our side, but we still need to be vigilant. A mistake can still cost us quite a bit at this point, but things are definitely going in our favor.
No gloom, all doom.
Could be a good time to, yeah. Quite limited in what he can do. We may need to, yeah. So a rough go. Did you hear this? This may be a good opportunity to go into wild shape, get that HP boost, and also increase our mobility a bit. Karlak, we're going to, if we're able to, we'll jump, but because of the ice, we'll, okay, this is another good decision. Can use some of this, inflict some fire damage. Got lucky there on the ice. Damage 3. I think that's broken the invisibility as well. And then we're going to begin to head into the hall from this side door.
Close ranks.
Just check some of our distances. This archer's still a nuisance. At some point, the harpers will engage. But those zealots are quite a challenge. Now we can go with a fire. We can go with a few sort of elemental attacks, but in this case, I think it's going to be most beneficial to regroup in the back hall and then sort of force those enemies towards the remaining harpers and just attacking them from the rear. We'll hit the dash. You can see we've got them all congregated at this entrance point. And it's really going to make them weak to sort of any area attacks, any fire attacks, lightning attacks. They're going to be helpful. Very hard to get a hit on those guys. Having a rough time. I'm going to decide to do some ice here. If it's water, they will tend to move forward, much more boldly. If you want to slow their movement down, I think we're doing a death burst. Yeah, if you want to slow their movement down, then go with the ice. Also, it's a perfect time for a lightning attack. Still chipping away at him. heal back in the fight here.
Take you.
Looking for something that would maximize the damage we're doing to these 3, potentially 4 characters here. I would say for this second portion of the fight, focus on the Warden and the Adept enemy.
You are not allowed to die.
In this case, we're gonna strengthen Gale.
Let me recite their demise.
Misty Step, get out of the danger zone. If we didn't have the ice on the stairs, this would be a perfect time for a lightning attack. Make sure we've got virtually, I'm not sure Shadowheart is in the water, but
With ease.
make sure everyone's well out of the way. You'll find mixed success with Jaheira's wild shape attacks. I found it quite challenging to land any of them on these second phase enemies.
My turn.
We've almost got Karlak in
See me on
place.
the go.
She can begin with some ranged attacks. Wait until the enemies draw closer. Finally. Now the Harpers will begin to engage the archers and the rafters. And we can begin going to work on these guys. We do a fireball. It's not super effective just because of the way they're positioned. Also, we're trying not to get any collateral damage on Jaheira. See if this lands. Shot. I don't think we got anything. And the quartermaster's going up to the rafters. Got an opportunity. Karlak's in distress there. Again, a mistake at this point if you're not careful, you know, the fight's still not over, so we definitely really want to plan accordingly.
Ready.
At this point, we want to make sure Shadowheart is well out of the way of the water. We're going to look to finally take advantage of the lightning. One more ice first.
Mistra Rill. Onward.
Okay, we'll bring in another elemental, this time fire.
Take your own.
Again, we'll find mixed success with some of these wild shape attacks. Very high resistance on this enemy. Okay, we got lucky that time.
I got this.
Can't go wrong with a magic missile. Try to really maximize the damage we can do. And definitely try to get at least one or two big hits to land. Or at least help Karlach to survive this next round. Got lucky there. Okay. Just see if we can displace. Tilly getting ready to acquire some new stock. This is the Warden. Okay, we're gonna be a bit hindered since everyone's so close together. Don't think we can get close enough. No, we can't. We'll let it go this round. Devastating damage. A little bit of ice damage.
What's the plan?
We're gonna get Shadowheart out of the way of this ice.
Take your got to move.
Unfortunately, we missed the fire.
Creator. Destroyer.
But we're getting close. Victory's just around the corner. Let's try to get a better angle. Try to focus on the zealot. Okay, we'll see if we can get Garlac up. And they're slippery fellas. Okay, we've opened up enough path. We have a 50-50 of hitting them with some fire. Okay, the inflicted wounds once again.
Down with you.
Another one down. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure.
Got to press on.
A tale for the ages.
Finally, I believe we're down to 2 enemies plus the remaining archers in the rafters. He's gonna die. Try a little lightning. Almost there. If we can land the offhand,
Nature will not even
that's gonna do
notice
it.
you are gone.
Okay, the clock is winding down.
Ready for another round?
See if we can get Karlak in place to hit one of these enemies in the
position.
rafters. Got no more actions. Okay, the warden. Success there.
Impero Tibi. Impero Tibi.
Need to act fast.
Okay, everyone is out of the way, or out of the water. We've got the warden left. We missed on the fire. Alright, Gale.
The lance board is set.
Trying to get the right angle.
With haste.
Alright, we'll go with the Witch's Bolt 3. Got a clear path. Alright, and that's gonna do it for the warden. You'll see just how much area that this electricity is gonna cover. It's a great strategy. If all of your party members can get out of the way,
Still standing.
you can do a tremendous amount of damage to a lot of characters very quickly.
Bring me into battle. Now this is my happy place.
Let's see if we can get this to connect. Nice.
Ooh, fun.
And we're gonna get someone to connect here. And that's gonna do it. I hope you enjoyed this fight. This is one of my favorite battles in Baldur's Gate 3. I find it really forces you to switch up your strategy. You know, you can't just go in and brute force. At least for me, I had to really try to think outside the box. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. You're going to see our Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough pop up on your screen. Also, a playlist of some funny and epic moments. Thank you so much. Until next time.